both. All right, hello Facebook and Instagram. My name is Jen O'Hara. I own Girls with Guns Clothing, which is a clothing brand. We carry hunting, casual apparel for the gun lovers, also concealed carry apparel, so carry wear, leggings, jackets, vests, all kinds of new amazing stuff coming this fall. With that, I'm also an NRA pistol instructor, and I love teaching classes. So I've been teaching classes I started 2 years ago, and then I took a break when Olivia was born, and I'm back to it here locally once a month. I do like a 5-day stint of teaching, get all of it in 1 week, and I love it. I love teaching women especially, and new shooters. So I specialize in basic pistol. One of the things that I'm seeing, and I'm sure you guys are too, is this crazy ammo shortage. So I literally forage, I scavenge, whatever you want to call it. I call 3 or 4 times a week I have 4 or 5 different go-tos. And yesterday, one of my stops, I was able to buy 1 box of 9mm because right now I have enough 40 and 45, but that's it. So one of the guys told me, actually 2 of the stores that I contacted told me that it's probably just going to get worse, which is awful for all of us. What do we do? So during this time, if we're ever in a self-defense situation, we need to be fresh. We need to keep our skills up, and we're not able to do that. There were 5 million new gun owners in 2020. So 5 million, that's huge. This is why we have an ammo shortage and COVID on top of it. Then we are expected by the end of this year, 2021, to have an additional 3 million. So that'll total 8 million new gun owners. So not only is this a good exercise because we're low on ammo, this is also a good exercise for new gun owners. I recommend all kinds of training, definitely if you're a new gun owner, but this is a really good start. So one of the things I like to do with dry fire is, number 1, I clear the room. There is absolutely no ammunition allowed in this room. This is my office, and it is something where it's kind of like my safe space because I manipulate firearms. I use them when I'm working on samples, and so I don't bring any ammunition up here. And also when I'm doing videos or cleaning my gun, this is where I do it as well. So what I do besides that is, if I can find that, I also have what are called snap caps or dummy rounds. So snap caps or dummy rounds are exactly just that. They are a dummy round. I'm trying to make sure and get them on both cameras. Okay, so this is the same shape, the same height, the same everything as a 9mm cartridge, but it's not real. But so then you can use it to do your drills and to continue to train. The other thing that's really important to me is that we always recognize and follow the 3 NRA rules for gun safety. So number 1, we always point the gun in a safe direction. So I'm in my home. Luckily for me, I don't really have neighbors, but I'm pointing the gun in a safe direction because I'm going to be firing it. I'm going to be pressing the trigger. We always keep our finger off the trigger. So off the trigger looks like this along the frame. This frame is not going to jump up and bite you. A lot of people seem to worry about that. This is a really safe space until you're ready to use it. Okay, we don't like to dangle it down here on the trigger guard. We have clutch reflexes. Clutch reflexes happen even as a baby. You know how babies will just grab a hold of your fingers? If you were to trip, if you were to even just fumble a little bit and your finger's hanging out down here, you could press that trigger accidentally. So we don't want an accidental discharge when you are out in the field, when you're at the range shooting. And we're always going to keep the gun unloaded until we're ready to use it. So again, I covered that. So one of the things that I want to do first is just clear my firearm with you guys, my audience. You can see that there is no cartridge in the chamber or the well. Also, my magazine is empty. All right, so I, of course, somehow can't find my 380 snap caps, so I'm not going to be using those right now. But one of the things that I do like to do and just recognize is that this is my everyday concealed carry. Both of these guns are. So these are the ones I want to train with the most. Yeah, I love to go and plink, shoot my 45, shoot my 1911, the 9mm that I have. That's a fun gun to shoot at the range. But what's most important to me is that if I was ever in a self-defense situation, that the muscle memory that I have from training and how I train and how you train is how you're going to defend yourself. So it's a mindset. It's absolutely a mindset. So what I'm going to do now is insert the mag and lock back slide. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about grip here. So I talked about laying your finger along the frame. So this is how we're going to start. Our shooting hand is going to come here along the back strap, or this is also called a beaver tail. So you're going to get it as high as possible. We don't want to grip down here because the gun can rock back. So we're going to come as high as possible along the beaver tail. We're going to put our finger straight along the frame, and then we're going to wrap the remaining 3 fingers around the gun. Okay? Then, if we come to the other side, you take your non-shooting hand. For me, that's my left hand. And I like to say, you marry it. You take this, and I'm going to butt it up to the other fatty part of my hand. And then I'm going to take the rest of my fingers, and I'm going to wrap them around to make a nice, firm grip. Then I'm going to notch my thumbs. So, one of the things that's important, you can see that there is absolutely no air, there is no space in between my grip. This is how you manage your recoil. If you have space in there, then you have room for your gun to move and come out of your grip, and it affects your accuracy. One of the things that I also like to do is train how I'm going to be shooting. So even though you're doing a dry fire, don't just grab the gun, do a little teacup action and, practice, because you want to practice and you want to train, again, how you're going to be at the range, how you're going to defend yourself. Just because we're low on ammo doesn't mean that we don't train. So one of the skills that I like to use, we call it a diamond washer drill. In this case, I'm using a quarter because that's what I have. So when we get, and it's a whole nother thing when we want to talk about stance and everything, but you guys do want to make sure that your stance is correct. And you're going to align your sights just as you would at a target. So find something. For me, I'm going to point at one of my pictures on the wall, and I'm going to aim at that. And then I'm going to put the quarter right at the sight. And what this does is this is going to allow me to check my trigger press and know whether or not I'm moving the gun. Because if that quarter falls, and it does with a lot of new shooters, then I know that I'm not doing it correctly. Another thing that I almost forgot to mention is trigger placement for your finger. So if you guys bite on your finger between the tip of it and your first knuckle, it should leave a little mark, and that mark is about where you want to lay your finger on the trigger. Okay, so I'm going to kind of step out here. All right, so I would align my sights. Okay, my grip is good. Now I've got my finger where it needs to be. I'm on target, and I'm going to press, 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 press. So you see that nice, even, slow trigger press. And when I came back, I captured that trigger. I'm not yanking it. I'm not doing it quickly, bringing it out. So I think that's another thing that's really important, is to train that way. All right, and for anybody wondering, this is the Ruger LC380. This is my everyday carry. This also converts to a 9mm, and I love this firearm. It's great to carry. It fits perfectly in our leggings as well. Okay, so my other everyday carry is the SP101. So we're clearing it here. You guys can see the cylinder is empty. Okay, now in this case, what's really cool is I do have snap caps. So I'm using my snap caps. I'm loading. All right. So the main difference in this that I do want to talk about is that we are going to take this finger to the first knuckle, And a lot of the reason for that is that there's a lot heavier of a trigger press in a double action revolver. So you're gonna go to the first knuckle, and that's how you're gonna do your trigger press. Now, your grip is going to be exactly the same except for one thing. We're going to lay that fatty part in, and the way I like to help my students remember it is protect the thumb. So you come down and you protect that thumb, notched on a semi-automatic, and protect the thumb when you're shooting a revolver. So I'm gonna do the same drill, dime washer drill. And again, this is a really long trigger press. Come in. All right. So that is just one of the many ways that I like to train. I like to draw from concealment. I like to use some of these little lasers that you have. You put in your dummy round, and they have lasers. There's different ways for you to train. That's just one that really helps me with accuracy with my trigger press, my sight alignment, which are your two most important fundamentals in shooting a firearm. So I would love to answer any questions for you guys that you might have. Also, make sure that you check out my classes. I have linked them for the next 3 months on my Facebook page in my header, cover photo, I guess it's called, in the cover photo, as well as on Instagram. I don't know how I'm going to do that. I'll figure that out. But I'll post some of my January classes in my bio. But I would love for you guys to check those out. But also ask questions. Anything that you guys might have, I would love to hear that. We definitely enjoy getting out and being able to teach with Northern Firearms Instruction here in NorCal. So you guys have an awesome, blessed day, and keep training. That's what's important.